when you talk about legacy, every time somebody goes into Renaissance Coliseum, they're going to look up and see a banner there. And you've done so many things for the university, but first of all, what does that mean to be the first to win a conference tournament championship and then go to the NCAA tournament for the first time in school history, and what that means to you to have accomplished that?
Well, I think, any coach will tell you the first time doing anything is really special, but when you can do it at your alma mater, that just is icing on the cake there. And I just love Bradley so much and believe in what Bradley stands for, and the fact that we'd never won conference championship tournament, whatever, and gone to the NCAA tournament, it bothered me. And I loved working every day towards that goal, and I felt like it could be done, especially with Dr. Reynolds' vision, and I think the timing was right. And obviously we have great student athletes, and we have great student athletes year in and year out, from as far back as when I played till now, and so that's never been argued. No one can ever dispute that. But that other piece of being a champion on the court as well was really was my overall goal and the goal of our program. And I'm just glad that now we can get it rolling. And once you get that first one, and it helps a lot. So looking forward to seeing more banners in Renaissance Coliseum. But the first one's always very special.
Well, just to piggyback off of that, Andrea, obviously the accomplishment is legendary, and really appreciate everything that went into it from your perspective and your staff perspective, because that's a heavy lift to do something for the first time ever in the history of a program. I can remember the first time I met you. You may not remember, but I do. And it was your interview, and we were walking into the restaurant in Indianapolis, and we happened to arrive at the same time. And we were walking in through the door, and I'm telling you, and I thought about it then, I think about it now. When I saw you, before I said one word, I said to myself, that's our next coach. And it had everything to do with your poise, your presence, your disposition, how you carried yourself. And I remember also you having a picture taken that you carried around of that empty trophy case. And so you inspired me to take a picture as well. And I printed it out, and I carried my picture around as well of the empty trophy case. And to have a vision, you talk about my vision, but man, this was a shared vision. Walk through with us your journey, because that didn't start the first day you arrived here at Bradley as our head coach, but it started way back when. For you to have the audacity and the courage to dream that big. Talk to us about, particularly as we celebrate the 50th year of the passage of Title IX, let us know and let the public know everything that went up to that moment that gave you the boldness to say, you know what, this could be done at Bradley University.
Well, I think it's all relates. There's a big correlation there. And, when I was growing up in the 70s, there wasn't Little League baseball, softball, t-ball for girls. And I was just run around, play with, I was the back row for my brother's team. And my mom could never I had a fake uniform and I wore that, but I wanted to be on a team so bad, but there wasn't any opportunities. So my dad actually got tired of me trying to compete with the boys and show my brother up at practice, that he's like, we got to get a girls team in the city. So he started a little softball for a girls team, and there was a couple teams. Then all of a sudden it just grew and grew, because the will and the want were there. We had no means. And so I'm very thankful I wasn't born 10 years earlier. I probably wouldn't have been at Bradley. I wouldn't have, had the passion for athletics that I do. because I didn't have the experiences that were afforded to me because of Title IX. So just seeing how, a family, my dad was kind of, well, we got to get some girls teams, and then just blew up. So really, to me, that's when you are passionate and you get to fulfill those passions. I think anything is possible. And but yeah, I think if you ask a lot of female athletes that were born in my generation, they're hungry. I mean, we're hungry because we had to prove ourselves, because people are like, oh, you're playing basketball, or, so you do have that chip on your shoulder all the time. And, I still have it. I still fight for women's athletics. I don't know if that chip's the same as it used to be. It probably shouldn't have to be. But the women that grew up in the 70s, 80s, we were just fighting to be on a team. Put on your brother's baseball uniform and basketball uniform, whatever, and just be on a team. We never will take that for granted, because we didn't have it for a short part of our life. So that's where the chip in the shoulder came from, that you just constantly have to prove yourself that you belong. And I think a lot of female athletes from my generation would say the same thing.
No, thank you for that. And I'd be remiss if I didn't say congratulations on your retirement. Extremely happy for you to be able to do the things you did here at Bradley, but then your ability to be able to leave on your own terms. I think that's really special. I will say, and I've recovered. It took a while. My heart was broken when we had that phone call when you informed me, but I'm gonna miss those Coach G fist bumps. I'm gonna miss them. But what you left here on the hilltop is something that for a lifetime we'll be talking about, because as Dave mentioned, it was the first. There'll never be another first. But you laid a foundation that we can build upon. And so before we go any further, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for doing that. Talk to us, when you started to think about getting into coaching, talk about how challenging that was, and talk to us a little bit about your motivation for wanting to get into coaching.
I didn't take the predictable route. When I left Bradley, Coach Boer, who was my coach, she says, you should go into coaching. I was always a point guard. So I always felt pretty confident with the playbook and all that out there. And she goes, you should look into coaching. So just started doing AAU, then high school, and did high school for 12 years, and small college. And then I was lucky enough to join Cindy Stein when she took over at SIU as her associate head coach. So it wasn't, the usual path. But I just did it because I missed being on a team. I spent almost a year when I graduated from Bradley, went back home to Detroit, and I ran marathons, did triathlons. I thought I just needed to compete. But I missed being on a team, and I didn't know what to do with myself. And so I'm like, I need to find a team. And so that's how I got into coaching. And, I think now when you look at coaching, there's so many more opportunities for women. But I am very thankful that I had strong female women as my coach. High school coach was a female. So I saw someone that looked like me, that I can do that. And then my college coach, very strong female presence. Well, I can do that, because they looked like me, talked like me, and they were pioneers. There wasn't a ton of female head coaches back then. High school, Division I. I think having those strong women in my life on a day-to-day basis, it really propelled my confidence that I could be a coach. That is something that I could do. So, and then, just being part of the team. And that's what I miss most about not coaching, is just, being around a team and being around student athletes, and just so blessed, so many blessings of coaching, being around great people. And that's what I miss the most.
I have one more question and a comment, and then I'd like for Dave to either ask a question, a comment, and wrap us up. But what I can appreciate so much about you being a Bradley Hall of Famer as a student athlete, right? And so when you come here as head coach, you have walked the walk, and you've done it at the highest level in our athletics department as being a Hall of Fame student athlete. And so as a head coach, what is it that you want the student athletes, or you wanted the student athletes who you coach to leave with, from an athletics perspective, from a social perspective, from a personal perspective? If you could summarize it just in a couple words or sentences, what is it that makes you most proud as being their head coach?
I think what I've always told our student athletes at Bradley is you're not going to realize what you had till you're done with it. And you could say all you want. It's just like being a parent, right? Your kids, and okay, whatever, mom and dad, but till they get off on their own, they're like, wow, mom and dad are pretty smart, right? So it's the same thing. It's you don't really realize what you have at Bradley till it's gone. And I know as a student athlete, I gained so much confidence. I was shy when I got to Bradley, when I got to Hilltop as a freshman. I probably can't believe that, but didn't have a ton of confidence. And I felt like I could take on the world when I graduated from Bradley. And that's what I want our student athletes to feel like when they walk across and grab that diploma. And when I took the job at Bradley, I really just brainstormed and went, okay, what are the values that I took away from being a student athlete at Bradley? And those were our Bradley Build core values: our gratitude, ownership, accountability, and toughness. And I think if you have those in life, you're going to be successful. And that's what I feel like Bradley gave to me. Without that, I wouldn't have any of the accomplishments and be where I am today. And so really, that's what we try to instill. Our staff did a great job with our student athletes instilling those 4 core values. I feel like, me personally, that's what Bradley gave me as a student athlete.
I want to talk since the celebration of Title IX. If there were no Title IX, just think, because that happened, the relationships that you have in your life with your teammates that you still keep in contact with, and the young women that you coached, the bonds that they have will last forever. Said it's more than just wins and losses in competing. It's relationships that last forever. And had that not have happened, who knows what would have happened in your and their lives.
Yeah, it changes everything. It's not just what you can take while you're a student athlete because of Title IX, what we get as female student athletes. It's what it affords us after we graduate, right? Because how many businesses love to hire former athletes? And all the men used to have, well, he was a Division I athlete, Division II athlete, whatever, he must, all those skills you learn as a college athlete. Now the women go in the workforce armed with those same tools. And so it's just not confined to college athletics, it's everywhere. As business women, doctors, lawyers, you name it. Now that's, I think, where you see the full benefit of Title IX, because we gained all those intangibles as being allowed to play on a team sport. And now, we can go out in the real world and be on equal footing. And I think, to me, that's what Title IX means. It's not, yes, it's great to have nice uniforms like the men. It's nice to have equal practice time. It's nice, that's all great, but that's limited. That's short term. If you look what Title IX has done for women beyond their playing days, I think that's where it's almost immeasurable, the benefit.
And the players that you brought in here have made lasting contributions on the basketball floor, from Letty Lerma to, you can go on and on. All-time leading scorers, all-time leading rebounders. They excelled under your tutorship. And that's got to be maybe as a big a kick as when you were playing.
Well, that's why you coach. That's why I've always coached. It certainly wasn't for the paycheck or anything. It's building relationships, watching young women come into the program as freshmen, maybe a little shy, unsure of themselves, develop. And by the time they leave as seniors, they're confident, they're ready to take on the world. And so that's the joy of coaching. It was always a joy of coaching for me. Yep, wins are super important. Just the players we were able to have and we were lucky enough to coach, our staff did such a great job with recruiting and really selling a vision. Those kids believed in the vision, and I'm so happy that they were able to have something tangible to take away from that as a championship. And even the year before, you know, we won. We had a really good team that year, but that group too that was really affected with COVID, with the tournament being canceled. They were really the winningest team in Bradley history. They first 20-win team and the most teams, and so even though they, you know, maybe didn't win the championship, they were really the key and the reason, because those were some very good teams. And I just love that, you know, we're still in communication, and that relationship will be ongoing for the rest of my life. I know that. So just again, it is about the student athletes that come in. I think we get such quality student athletes at Bradley because of what we can provide for them. And Bradley obviously made a lasting impact on me, to have that vision and drive to come back and fight for the women's basketball program. And I'm pretty sure that student athletes that have left and gone on the last couple of years are going to say the same thing. So that's what it's all about.
Dr. Reynolds, why don't you take it home?
Well, thank you, Andrea, for your time. You're a special person. You know that. I know that. I've told you that several times. What you left here, what you built here, what you established here, we'll be talking about it for decades. We just will, because it's the first banner. It's the first one. You always remember that one. And so, again, just thank you. What you've done is what we all aspire to do, and that's to make a difference, to make an impact. And so just thank you. We appreciate you. We care about you. Come back and visit us.
For sure.
We're looking forward to that. Stay in touch and go Braves.
Thanks, Chris. Appreciate you guys. Go Braves.